detail.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin. Round of applause for being here today. Thank you guys so much for being here, as it is our honor and privilege to bring you SU Football Weekly every Wednesday here from the Sheraton Hotel in Georgetown, Texas. I'm Rob Hipp. We'll talk to head coach Joe Austin here in just a few moments. The Pirates coming off of a commanding 50-3 stomping of Louisiana College this past Saturday in Georgetown. Round of applause for that. As Brad Tillery was on the call, the cannons were firing. You guys probably heard that consistently, so we're very excited about that first win in ASC play. Before we dig into that game, though, and start our first segment, let's take a look at the highlights back from last week.
Hands off on the counter play to Elijah Smith. He's got room. He is in. Fire the cannons. Touchdown Pirates. Right now, Gilpin goes up the middle, across the 25, scampers out to the 30. He's got room to the 40, out to the 45, across the 50, cuts back into the 45, all the way down to the 36-yard line of the Wildcats. Andrew Gilpin, options left, now cuts back, finds a hole to the 25, across the 20, up the field to the 15, to the 10, shakes a tackler. He is in. Fire the cannons. Touchdown Pirates. Pile, and Lewis will take a big hit. The ball came out. Southwestern says they have it. And let's see. They do. The Pirates come up with a turnover on the kick. He just shook Donald Gibson out of his shoes.
Yeah, if you have a basketball term there, he broke his ankles. And yeah, nice little shimmy, stutter step.
Quick huddle. Gilpin on the keeper. Straight up the middle. He is in. Fire the cannons. Touchdown Pirates. Quick throw, far sideline. Intercepted by Southwestern. Back across the 50 to the 40, 30, 20. Tail lights. Fire the cannons. Touchdown Pirates. Rosario Hernandez. Kerr fakes. Now will step back. Throws got a man wide open to the 30. Down to the 20. 10. Touchdown Pirates. Fire the cannons. David Brandenburg takes it to the house from 57 yards. He'll take it on the sweep, going around the right side, picks up a block. He's got the sideline, down to the 35, to the 30, cuts back inside to the 20-yard line, keeps fighting, and he's all the way down inside the 20 at the 15. Snap back to Kerr, he'll stutter step, taken up the middle himself. Fire the cannons, touchdown Pirates.
Very pleased. It was a really good team game. I was proud of how our guys stayed out of some of the nonsense in the second half. Stayed away from the chippiness. I thought that showed good diligence, good character on our behalf. Obviously, we took care of business in the first half, but a great defensive effort. too bad we lost the shutout. We seem to find ways the last few years to lose the shutout, but a really good overall team game.
Well, welcome back. Let's give a round of applause. Great victory. I think one of the only touchdowns we missed on that highlight reel was Anthony Stevens. Sorry about that, Ant. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'll get his thoughts on that, let him clear that up with us, Coach. So, well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as we now chat with head coach Joe Austin. 2-0 record for the Southwestern Pirates now. Just taking care of business here early in the season with that 50-3 victory versus, of course, just last week versus Louisiana College. 2-0 record. Conference play now started, and so we're in the middle of it. 1-0, the conference record. Good start. Let's round of applause for that. That's how you want to start in the ASC. This was a Southwestern Pirate team that led 37-7 at the half, 30 points coming in the second. A dominant rushing game, 347 yards on the ground, 167 through the air. Coleman Kerr, the sophomore, got the start at quarterback for an injured Austin Emery. Coach, another dominant defensive performance. We talk about it every week. It just seems like we keep going around the defense, but we've got to continue to talk about it. Rosario Hernandez, as we saw there on the highlight reel, of course, a 66-yard pick six. Big clap for Rosario. Great job. I heard some cheers over here on that. The defense only allowed 3 points in the game. I said, I don't know where I got 7 from. I'll scratch that out. Only 3 points in the game. I don't want to take anything away. How impressed are you with your defense, Coach?
That's who we're
Oh, sorry, Coach. Hold on 1 second. We get first glitch here ever on I had you in 3. Hold on 1 second, Coach. We just did this on purpose to make sure everything was working right. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know sign language, so I'm gonna need a microphone. It was a really good job by our defense, and of course our defense is also a lot of the same guys that are on our special teams. We forced that the fumble on the kickoff. We also blocked a punt, which are, there are some offensive guys in those units, but they're largely defense. So they're showing not only when we're in the traditional defense, but they're showing in special teams. And we've got a lot of guys back. What I really like is we're getting a really balanced effort. It's not like we're relying on one guy to make 20 tackles. We're spreading out the tackles. We're spreading out the turnovers. Josiah Minifield had another pick six that unfortunately got brought back because we jumped off sides. But a great recognition of his effort on that play. That's what I really like about our defense is it's not defense by committee, it's defense where there's no holes. And hopefully we can continue to play a defense where there's no holes, nowhere that people can really exploit us. And if we continue to have everyone play really solid, I think we'll be in good shape.
Coach, one thing, it doesn't really show up too much on the stat line, especially on the offensive line, but the defensive line, of course, if they get tackles, you'll see that. Talk a little bit about those guys up front and how great they have been through these first 2 games.
Well, our defensive ends, I think, is where it starts. And Garrett Womack had the player of the week in our first game, but Nick Smith is his bookend. Those 2 guys are really good, and they're very active. We play them on the edge. We slant them into gaps. We do a lot with them. They're good on the pass rush. And what they've done is they've really physically gotten so much better over 4 years. They came in as good athletes, and they've really worked really hard to put on the necessary size and the strength to go with the athletic ability that they've been blessed with. Inside, we've got guys like Grant Mitchell, who plays a lot, and he's a wide body. And so he eats up a lot of space. He takes up a lot of blockers, and that allows our linebackers to run more freely. We've got Nick Hackett in there. We've got Donovan Connolly. We've got Mason DuBois. So we've got a good group of bigger guys in the middle. And sometimes it's been a struggle for us in our program to have those large guys inside. And we had a really good recruiting class last year where we've got 3 or 4 big-bodied linemen. Seth McCrum is another one in that sophomore group that played last week. So we're really deep sophomore defensive line class. And Grant Mitchell's a junior, and they're really supporting our 2 guys that I think are really good standout defensive ends in Womack and Smith.
Well, Coach, Austin Emery injured. We didn't see him start. We saw the sophomore Coleman Kerr. Talk about his performance and what that was like for him to get in there and play.
Well, he found out on Thursday he was our starting quarterback, so he did a good job. He didn't have a lot of time. Now, Austin, we knew, had an injury coming out of our Sewanee game, and it took a while for the medical procedures to go through the process of rolling him out. But Coleman was taking a lot of reps is what I'm getting at. So he was dividing the reps with Austin Emery, and we knew that there's a good chance that he may have to play. And to his credit, he had gone through the week expecting to play and expecting to possibly be the starter, and I think he did a great job. For a first start, did really, really well, moved the ball efficiently, managed the game well as far as our communication, and just, we picked up where we left off. All of our offensive guys have had to adapt, and quarterback changes are always hard. When you have a 3-year starter, really Fred started for 4 years, right? He started as a freshman in some games. So that's a big transition when you've had the same guy, you've had the same snap count, you've heard the play the same way. When that changes, that can be difficult. So we went from Austin now to Coleman. We've got Landry Gilpin also playing. So our guys just have to be really flexible and just be really good at what they do to put less stress on them. The nice thing is we do have a lot of older players. We're going to talk to Anthony Stevens tonight. Senior wide receiver, has 2 touchdowns already. David Brandenburg we had on, senior captain. He has 2 touchdowns already. So our quarterbacks don't have to be the center of attention. And we've had Brian Hicks, who's now 3 years playing professionally, and Fred Hover, where they were center of attention guys. And not that Coleman and Landry Gilpin can't grow into that, and even Austin Emery, but they've got these guys around them. They've got really good running backs, and Kalen Heim and Elijah Smith and Devin Shaw. So they need to, they're not game managers. I hate that term. And that's not all we do. I mean, he has the ball every time. But they need to distribute, and they're doing a really good job of distributing and just executing what we're doing, and they're fitting in, and their stats are good. They're doing well stat-wise. I mean, we've got a lot of rushing touchdowns from our quarterbacks. We're passing at a really high level. Our percentage of touchdown passes to the number of times we throw it's got to be number 1 in the country, and so I think they're doing a really good job.
You know, your offense led 7-0 after the first quarter. Took things a little bit to get going, and then once they started firing really at all cylinders, things taken off in that second quarter. What was really the spark that got that offense going after the first quarter, Coach?
We started getting really short fields, and actually we scored on, I think, the second play of the second quarter. So we're close to the 2 score. We had 2 good scoring drives in the first quarter, and then we started getting the turnovers and the short fields. And, you know, when the floodgates open on a football team, sometimes it's the way it goes. And I think we got them on the ropes, and we just kept up with the body shots of creating turnovers and 3 and outs. And then our offense would throw the haymakers to the face. And it's kind of the 1-2 punch to, I don't know where the boxing thing came out at, but I guess we were working them over really good on defense, and that gave us the chance to really swing at them on offense. I think we had 3 one-play drives, I guess, to wrap up my boxing metaphor, right? You really work them over, and then you can take a big swing. And so we keep taking big swings, and we kept landing.
I heard a phrase last week. A coach said it was the proverbial straw that stirs the cup, whatever that means.
I know where that came from. Marissa was quoting Mike Tyson before the show tonight.
There you go.
So I had a Mike Tyson quote in my head of, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And so so there you go. Thanks,
all right,
Marissa.
Thank you for that, Marissa. Round of applause for Marissa, Coach's wife. Thank you, Marissa. Also helping us set up tonight, so we appreciate that. Well, it's again, kind of the cycle continues. The rushing game dominant once again for Southwestern. Talking about a guy, Landry Gilpin, rushed for over 100. Talk about his play and some of the other highlights of this one in the offensive side.
Balanced effort. No one really jumped off. I think between rushing and passing, David Brandenburg got over 100 yards, but we had, 10 players carried the ball. I think we had 6 receivers catch the ball. We played 3 quarterbacks. We played 10 offensive linemen. I think we just – if we had an arrow in the quiver, we shot it. We used all of our personnel, and we just tried to, use all the tools we have at our disposal, and Landry Gilpin's becoming one of those. He every week becomes a little more competent at our offense and learning our language and learning our terminology, adjusting to the speed of the game, and so we'll be able to continue to see him hopefully grow and mature. He's obviously very talented. An unbelievable high school career, one of the most decorated in the history of the state of Texas, and he's going to be a really good player for us for 4 years.
Well, Coach, before we head into the next segment, we'll interview some of the guests tonight. Your final thoughts going back to Louisiana College.
Well, I thought I don't tweet a lot, but I tweeted after the game. I thought this is one of the best overall team efforts I'd ever been a part of, and we talked a lot about a lot of those things where the defense fed into the offense and the special teams fed in. We also had longer drives where our defense got to rest. We came out and scored on the first play of the third quarter just to leave no doubt of how it was going to go. So I thought it was really good. The fact that we stayed away from the penalties. Those games get chippy when they start to become blowouts, so we stayed out of that. I just thought it was a really well-executed team game. I think our coaches deserve a lot of credit. I think our players deserve a lot of credit, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
Coach, as always, appreciate your time during this first segment. We'll step aside for just a few moments, so we'll interview our guests coming up. This is the SHN Sports Broadcast Network. Again, SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin. Round of applause for Coach, please. As we move to our next segment, we'll be right back here in just a few moments. Stay with us, friends. Well, welcome back to SCU Football Weekly with head coach Joe Austin. I'm Rob Hipp, now joined by sophomore punter Mr. Victor Winfeld. Victor, good to have you here tonight, man. Can we give it up for Victor?
Thank you for having me.
We got a special guest tonight, too, because we'll ask you in a minute, but Victor's not from around here, and so I'm excited to talk to him, and you'll hear it here in a minute, probably. So,
yeah.
So we'll hear from Victor, majoring in business, minoring in communications, 2 siblings.
I got 2 siblings here. I got my little brother Matthias and my little sister Anna. Still live back home in Denmark, from where I'm from. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I was about to ask you, man. Yeah, Denmark. Come on. There we go. I have to ask you because I was born and raised here in Georgetown. I don't get out of Georgetown much less the country, the state, much less Georgetown, if you know where I'm going with that. So tell us a little bit about Denmark and how did you get from Denmark to Southwestern University here in little old Georgetown, Texas, man?
Yeah, it's actually quite a long story. I started growing up playing football. That's football for me in Europe, but it's soccer over here. I grew up, played that for 15 years. Went to high school, and a guy called Marco, one of my best friends from back home, he came into my class, and he was like, "You want to try out American football?" And we went and tried it out, and after, I think, 1.5 years, we both went with the national team to the European Championship, won silver there. We decided to try out and take it to the next level for college football. And I traveled over here with my dad, and luckily it worked out, and Southwestern University wanted me to play here, and I'm really appreciative for that.
Awesome, man. Well, we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
In Georgetown, Texas at Southwestern. You know, a sophomore on the team, I always ask if you're a senior, you know, what leadership role do you have? But as a sophomore, I know that you look up to some guys. Who do you really look up to on the team?
I mean, we got 2 senior kickers right now. We got Luke and Philip, 2 great guys. In general, the kicking group is a bunch of great guys that I really look up to and really have a personal relationship with them, and we really talk a lot also outside of football. But also just in general, the captains and the other seniors who just represent the football program in a really good way.
Well, hey, on special teams, of course, it's an easy question for me to ask because we know the answer is very important, but I wanted you to kind of expand on it. Talk about how important the role of special teams is and setting up plays and doing things like that. It's very critical because you hear so much about the offense, the defense. We don't want to leave out the special teams, so tell us about that.
Yeah, for me, obviously because I'm a specialist, I think special teams means a lot to the football team. It's really for me, I'm a punter, so I really set up the defense a lot. So the distance of my kick makes it easier for the defense. And the same on kickoff and field goal and PATs create points. And often we see a lot of football games getting decided down to the 1 or 2 points, and that's a field goal. And that might be the decider of who's going to win and who's going to lose.
Of course, a victory versus Louisiana College to open up conference play. Walk us through a little bit of that game, what was going through your mind, and how important that first victory was in conference play.
I mean, that victory was everything for us, coming out and really getting a good start of the season. We came out and we unfortunately lost to them last year. So we knew that we were going to have to work hard for this win. And we really worked out the whole week up to it. We really worked hard, and we really had a good preparation. So, yeah, I'm just happy we came with this really good team win where everybody just did really good, and we just came together as a team.
Awesome. Well, as we continue to talk to Victor Winfeld here, the sophomore punter from Southwestern, talk more about your role on the team and really what's expected of you, man.
So, I mean, I came in here and I was I felt like the outsider coming in, 2 older kickers. They were having the spots, and me and Will, my roommate now actually, we came in here together, freshman last year, and I feel like we really just took it on our shoulders to really just do good and really improve in the team in all the ways we could, and really make the special teams really important for the team and really do good there.
Awesome, Victor. 2 games into the season, conference play started. What have you noticed about the team this year and really how you guys are feeling at this moment?
I feel we're really strong this year. We really do good as a team, and we really connect, all of us, on the field and also off the field. Our defense, we have almost all the starters from last year back this year, and that's really strong for the team, and that's really they're really pulling their part of the wins and stuff. But also our offense, we have some great playmakers, some freshmen coming in, and some sophomores doing really good, the quarterbacks, and then special teams where I feel like we really also do a good job there.
Well, regarding your play, where do you feel that you can improve on, man?
I mean, there's always things to improve on as a kicker. I like to say that it's an individual sport and a team sport, being a kicker. because you really you work with yourself and you compete with other kickers, but still you're on a team sport and you really also have to connect with the team.
As far as, sophomore, you got plenty of time as you're working on things. Where do you want to be after college, man? What's your dream job?
That's a good question.
That's why I asked.
I mean, right now, my first goal coming over here was, so English is my second language, and I really tried hard to get into school and really do my homework and get some good grades, because it's not easy to come over here and study college when it's your second language. So for now, right now, at least until my junior year, where maybe I have to start doing some internships and stuff, it's just getting some good grades and just really focusing on school, and then we'll see where the future takes me. I don't know if I'm allowed to stay because I'm on a visa here, so who knows?
We'll see what happens. We hope we can keep you around, man.
Me too.
Well, the question I started asking here this season, it's something that I really like to ask, and I know the audience really likes to hear the unique answer from each one of you guys. What does it mean to you to be a Southwestern University Pirate?
Oh, man, for me, being a Southwestern University man is just everything, because we all know that playing football is going to come to an end one day, and it's really important to during this time prepare yourself to be a man. And when you come out of college, you got to really you got to be there for your family and for your wife one day, and you just gotta be a really good man. And I feel like the Georgetown community is really strong and really helpful towards all of us, and really support us, and really try also to make us good men and support us in our road to being a good man.
Awesome. I like that answer, man. I'm going to give you a round of applause.
Thank
It's important to take care of your family. You've already got the right mindset on that. Now, Denmark, you're going to have to educate me and maybe some of us in here. My history's not that good unless you ask me Georgetown things, but don't put me on the spot. But I got to ask, what's the primary language in Denmark?
So the primary language is Danish.
Danish.
Yeah,
Do you speak Danish?
I speak.
So
yeah,
can you tell us something in Danish, like I really love all of you in Georgetown, Texas, in Danish?
Jeg elsker alle sammen her i Georgetown. I betyder stor del for holdet, og det er virkelig fedt, I bakker så meget op.
Dude, awesome, man. Cool, man. Can you, whenever I interview Anthony here in a minute, can you sit here and translate everything that I ask him? And that would be awesome, man.
Actually, I know that my parents back home, they watch this right now. But I mean, they speak English as well. But there might be some of my friends who may be wanting to hear it in Danish, so who knows?
And then when did you start learning English?
So we started learning English around 4th grade. But it's a little different because we get taught in Danish, English in Danish. So when I figured out when I came here, I was forced to speak English so much because there's nobody who speaks Danish here. so you really get pushed to speak English, and that's the way you learn. And so yeah.
One last question. Well, actually, 2 last questions. Have you ever gotten a little frustrated and said something? And now, don't repeat if it's anything bad. But have you ever kind of mumbled something in Danish on the football field?
Oh, 100% definitely. That's something you really you gotta get rid of because that's just been engraved in me from the day I was born. So
awesome. Well, hey, finally, camera right here in front of you. Who do you want to send a shout out to tonight from Georgetown, man?
I want to send a shout out to my family back home. Appreciate all of y'all for supporting me on this journey. I love all of y'all. And then I want to send a huge shout out to the Georgetown community. Everybody who comes out on Saturdays and show support and really appreciate us, and we appreciate that. And then, of course, my kicker buddies back home. Y'all are the best group of guys I could ever do this with.
And I heard something come out of there, y'all. Is it?
Actually, when I first started here, I was 100% sure I was never going to say that, but
it's ingrained.
It's my everyday now.
Awesome. One more time, folks. Let's give it up for Victor Winfield. Good to have you here at Georgetown, man.
Thank you.
Well, we'll step aside, take just a quick break. Stay with us as we have more interviews. This is SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin on SHN Sports. Well, welcome back to SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin. You guys having fun tonight? How's the food? Everything's good? I'm up here now joined by Anthony Stevens, a senior wide receiver from Houston, Texas, Channelview High School. Houston, got any Houston fans in the house? Any Texan fans in the house? Got a couple here.
Okay.
I'm a Cowboys fan. Roger back there giving a thumbs up. You can't. Roger, this is his 30th time here, so whatever Roger says, Anthony goes. So He likes the Texans. Everybody has to like the Texans.
Appreciate you, Roger.
Well, hey, Anthony Stevens majoring in kinesiology. 3 siblings. Talk about your siblings, man, a little bit before we get started.
I got a younger sibling, Ariana Stevens. She is 13 years old currently. She cheerleads and models. And I have a brother who is 32. He has 3 kids now, so I'm an uncle actually. And my sister is actually an RN. She was studying. She studied nursing at Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, that's cool, man. Good stuff. Let me ask you, there's been a lot of flooding, of course, down in the Houston area. Your family okay? Everybody doing okay, man?
Yes, sir. Everybody's okay. Nobody got affected.
In that area. Awesome,
yes,
man. Well, hey, in Houston, talk a little bit about growing up there in Houston and your high school career.
I was born in Houston, but I grew up like on the outskirts of Channelview and North Shore area. It was pretty settled and pretty diverse out there too. I also went to high school with Jalen Hurts, which is a good buddy of mine. So we got a lot of people we know out there, and we get together and get football stuff going out there. So
your journey here, we talked to you last year, Anthony. Always enjoy chatting with you, man. And the nickname's Ant, right?
Yes, sir.
Talk about that. Where'd you get that nickname from?
A coach in high school actually gave me that nickname because he couldn't pronounce Anthony, so he would just Ant. Come on, Ant. It just stuck with me. Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. I like it. I learned it last year early, and before this season started, I said, "Wonder what Ant's up to, man." And so it's good to have you back up here, Anthony. In fact, we were just talking before we got started. I believe we interviewed you right before the Texas Lutheran game last year at the end of the season, the last coaches show, man.
Yes, sir, we did.
So what's changed between now and then?
Same mindset. We still want to compete when we're even in practice. We want to compete because we want to simulate a game. And a couple of friends of mine have been talking. Some teammates been talking on Twitter. So it's the blood's boiling up against both teams. So we're ready to get out there on Saturday, definitely.
Awesome. What does that social media impact have, man? A lot of you young guys, I'm active on it. What has that been like, man? Just having that, being able to reach out to your friends and everything.
I think it's actually cool. It puts us ahead of the other generations because we have more access to technology nowadays, and we can do more and we can see more. So it's good to be tech savvy always. So.
Well, you're a senior now. Talk a little bit about your journey here at Southwestern University, Anthony.
It's been pretty bumpy ride, but I'm here now. I've been with 4 or 5 different quarterbacks every year. Over the past 4 years, so it's been hard adjusting, but I've been able to do it. And
well, a little bit more just kind of about those quarterbacks, because you had Fred Hover and his leadership for so many years, and then, of course, Austin Emery gets injured after the first game at Sewanee. How do those adjustments work? Because, you've got to make sure that the ball's getting delivered to the running back, and especially you on the receiving end. How do you work that out in practice? Kind of walk us through that a little bit, Anthony.
I used to stay after with Coleman Kerr and work on some things because I used to call him QB1, which it actually came true in the end to him actually being QB1, but we didn't expect it. But I used to work out with him in the spring, like throwing extra stuff, like working on routes and timing, where we could just do it in the game where it just looked so fluent. And I played with Fred Hover. He was just a great guy. Like, he was a good athlete, so he was able to, create good situations for us to get the ball and just stay on his feet and take tackles and just be productive in the offense. So I've been playing with some really good guys.
Well, speaking about the offense as a wide receiver, what's your leadership role on the team now?
I'm actually technically not a captain, but I'm a leader of the wide receivers because I've been there the longest. Blair Orr and I, we try to take stand over the wide receivers. We have a new coach, Coach John Bishop. He's really helping us out with our routes and blocking patterns and where to be and how to have your first step and just being explosive off the line. So we've been putting in a lot of work.
2 receptions this season so far, both of them resulting in touchdowns. Let's keep that streak going. Every reception is a touchdown. Good up for Anthony on that. So You know, we'll come back and we'll talk, you know, maybe in several weeks, and it'll be like 7 receptions, 7 touchdowns, you know. Yeah. So we'll keep that streak going, Anthony. Kind of looking back, though, the offense, we look back last week to Louisiana College. What are some of the highlights of that game for you? Of course, a touchdown, but talk more about that game and just some of the high points for you in that game.
Not only just catching the ball, but blocking is highlights for me also, because when I block and do my job and a guy runs around me and scores a touchdown, I feel the same way I would if I caught a touchdown pass. So blocking is really big, and I was on kick return, but that didn't work out, so I got moved off of that. But I try to stay focused and do my 111 so we can have wins like that every week.
I noticed you were laughing there. Coach was laughing a little bit, so that's good on that, Anthony. Well, hey, as we continue to talk to Anthony Stevens, where do you want to improve on, man?
I want to improve on just being able to stay focused and just not have distractions affect what I have going on the football field, in the classroom, or whatever other thing that I'm doing. I would like to stay more focused because there's a lot of distractions going on.
Well, a lot of energy this season. Of course, after victories, it's always very exciting. But I've noticed kind of a swing this year from last year as well, as far as that energy and the excitement. What's really got you excited this year? You know, I've talked to several of you guys, and everyone that I talk to says there's something special about this year. What has made that special so far, and what excites you this year, man?
Of course, it's year 4, so that's an exciting thing. Could be my last year playing football. And I just want to go out with a bang because we've been working like from day one. These guys, the guys that started the program, they were freshmen. They came out. They were getting their butts whooped every week. And now the tables have turned. We have a lot of seniors now and juniors, so we have that big dog mentality. So we're able to go out and produce good playing, like when we're playing in the game, good outcomes when we're playing, and execution also. So.
Well, Texas Lutheran 1-1. They won their conference opener on the road versus East Texas Baptist University there at O'Neill Stadium. What's the preparation for this game coming up Saturday?
The same thing we do every week. Nothing changes, nothing's different. We just want to go out and compete and do our 111 and execute.
What does it mean to you, as I ask every player now, what does it mean to you to be a Southwestern Pirate, especially now that you're a senior?
It's special being a Southwestern Pirate. Like Victor said, one day football will be over. You have to be that man in the house, take care of your family, and do what you need to do. And also in the community, people are watching us. When we have Southwestern gear on in the store, they come up to us asking us, hey, how are you guys doing? How's the season? So we have people really watching us when we're out in public. So it's good that we behave and be a Southwestern man.
It's awesome, man. I'll give you a round of applause for that. You know, just taking care of business, that's what it's all about. And here at Southwestern, we hear it day in and day out in every coach's show. Just the respect that you guys have and what you put forth to the community doesn't go unnoticed. So don't think for a minute that, you know, we're always looking up to you guys, so continue that journey. As we talk, just a few more questions here. Where do you want to be after college? Studying kinesiology? What's your ideal job?
Ideally, I want to go back to school for physical therapy, and I'll have to take more science classes, so I'll do that. And also, I want to continue playing football. If that's where God takes me, then I'll also do that.
Awesome. Actually, 2 more questions. Has Victor taught you any Danish? Yeah. Has he taught
sir,
you no other languages? Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I was going to ask you to talk and like that. So okay, we won't do that to you.
Please don't.
He said, "Please don't." I won't do it, man. Camera right there on you. Who do you want to say hello to tonight from Georgetown?
I want to say hello to my family and friends back home. Appreciate y'all for supporting me. I really appreciate y'all.
Awesome. Another outstanding young man here at Southwestern. One more round of applause. Anthony Stevens, wide receiver. Thank you, Ant. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Good luck versus Texas Lutheran. We'll step aside for a break. This is SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin. Continues in just a few moments. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin. Third segment as we look at other things going on around the campus of Southwestern University. In men's golf, Christian Rodriguez of Southwestern named the SCAC Men's Golfer of the Week for the week of September 18th through 24th. Rodriguez paced the Pirates to a second-place team finish at the prestigious Rhodes College Fall Classic. Congratulations, young man, on that award. And, man, again, we talk every week, and so many students, not just in football, but honors going all around at Southwestern. Last season, the Southwestern University Pirates men's tennis team achieved the highest national ranking in program history. I don't know if you guys knew that. Some of y'all, of course, with Southwestern knew it. Let's give a round of applause for that, as they are continuing here this year, rising to number 28 in the Collegiate Athletic Association poll, ITA poll. This year, the Pirates have the perfect opportunity to spark their season from the outset as they host the ITA Southwest Regional Championships this week, the 26th through the 29th. Southwestern University Pirates volleyball. Allie Grona was named the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference SCAC Defensive Player of the Week for matches played through Sunday, September the 22nd. The Pirates are 9-5 this season, with matches against Concordia, Texas, and Our Lady of the Lake this week on Tuesday and Wednesday. So yet again, another SCAC Player of the Week. Congratulations, Allie. Keep up the good work. Southwestern University Pirates ranked number 22 in the NCAA Division III Women's Golf in the latest Women's Golf Coaches Association poll. That's the WGCA poll, receiving 45 votes. The Pirates will return to action Monday, September 30th in Glen Rose, Texas at the Squaw Valley Golf Club to compete in the Lady Crusader Invitational. Of course, for more information on what's going around Southwestern University athletics, visit southwesternpirates.com. There's always a lot of sponsors making so much happen at Southwestern with the athletics and more. I want to go over those real quick and give them their due recognition. Gary Brown, CPA, John F. Lewis, CPA, State Farm, Stephanie Featherstone, BBVA, First Texas Bank, R Bank, Texel Credit Union, Don Hewlett Chevrolet Buick, Antioch Georgetown Church, Groove Line Productions, Boomtown Escapes, Primerica Financial Solutions, Upstream Investment Partners, Stansky's, Georgetown Shirt Company, HEB, Family Emergency Room, and it's not HEB Family Emergency Room. It just kind of flows that way, so just to let you know. Maybe one day they'll have a Family Emergency Room, but thank you to Family Emergency Room. St. David's Georgetown, Eagles Wings, Sheraton, Georgetown, Austin Hotel and Conference Center. Thank you, Sheraton. And Mr. Sugar back there on the phone. He does such a great job. The Georgetown Palace Theater, Chisholm Trail Pediatrics, Minuteman Press, Waterboy Graphics, Berkshire Hathaway, Roger Chappell in the house. Thank you, Roger. 30, number 30, Roger. There may be something. Stay around here, Roger. We're just saying. Georgetown Commercial Properties, Turnip Seed Real Estate Group, Chick-fil-A, Double Dave's Pizza, Mama Foo's, Mighty Fine Burgers, Fries, and Shakes, Monument Cafe, Rudy's, Sloshki's, Whataburger, CJ's Catering and CJ's Sports Bar, Wolf Ranch, Georgetown Title, Hello Georgetown Website Mojo, and the City of Georgetown. Can we please thank all of those wonderful sponsors? Well, friends, today, a little bit out of the ordinary here in this section. A very kind of an emotional day here, and this is something I really want you to focus on. Roger Chappell has reached 30 shows, and we have a cupcake for Roger. Roger, come on up here, brother. Let's get you a cupcake. Come on, Roger. So congratulations to Roger. I had everybody worried there. It's a little emotional today, but Roger, thank you for all your support and all that you do here with the coaches shows. Happy 30, brother. So Dr. Munt brought that. Thank you, Dr. Munt and Southwestern University. So we told you there'd be something special, Roger. Congratulations. And for those of you watching, Roger has been to 30 shows in a row now and 30 overall, so we appreciate the support. And it's community members such as Roger and so many friends that are here at these coaches shows every week. So those of you that are watching online and you're in the Georgetown area, come to the Sheraton Hotel every Thursday, 6 o'clock, a wonderful show. You get to meet a lot of great friends. We'll step aside and take a break as we look ahead to Texas Lutheran University this Saturday on the road. Stay with us, friends. SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin continues here on SHN Sports in just a few moments. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin. Everybody having fun tonight? Fourth and final segment. Thank everybody for being here in attendance in beautiful Georgetown, Texas. And one thing that you can't see it if you're on the stream, of course, but as we look behind us, it's always a beautiful setting as the sun starts to set. The windows right behind us here, as right in front of us. You can't see it on the video stream. We'll look ahead to Texas Lutheran on the road, Georgetown, Southwestern University on the road for the second conference game of the season. Texas Lutheran currently 1-1. They lost a non-conference game to Hendricks to open up their season 26-23, and then defeated East Texas Baptist on the road 31-21 last week. A very tough East Texas Baptist University team. This is a much improved Texas Lutheran team from last season. Southwestern played Texas Lutheran last year as the final game of the season here in Georgetown, a 59-35 victory. It's the 9th meeting between these two programs. I believe it dates all the way back to 1940, if I'm not mistaken. Southwestern leads the series 5-3. Pirates have a 4-game winning streak versus the Bulldogs. Coach Austin, Texas Lutheran took care of business last week versus East Texas Baptist. It looks like a different team than last year. We can't just write it off and move on to the next game.
Well, they were a good team last year also. They won 7 games, and they came into our game number 2 in the American Southwest Conference in defense. We've won 4 in a row against them because we've played really well. And Anthony mentioned that it's a game our guys get excited for, and I told him even after the game last Saturday night, when you guys are talking on social media, I knew it was going to come. I said, you better back it up. So we'll find out if that's going to happen. Hopefully we will. But they're a very good team. Their first game was a pretty big upset, I think, in most people's opinions. They had 15 penalties for almost 200 yards, which really made winning difficult. And then they had the ball at the end of the fourth quarter, and their quarterback was rolling out. And while running, the ball hit his thigh, and he fumbled. And Hendricks fell on it and just lined up for a game-winning field goal. And I think they ran off the field and got on the bus as fast as they possibly could because they were pretty fortunate to go into Texas Lutheran and beat them. But season openers can be like that. I'm sure they've polished a lot of things. They're not going to be a 15-penalty team when we play them. They played really well last week. And you mentioned it, East Texas Baptist is a team that's always in the top 25. And they went into their place in their home opener for East Texas Baptist, and they handled them pretty well, a 10-point victory. When you watch the film, it really wasn't that close. So it's a very good football team.
Southwestern, as we were talking here just a few moments before we went back into this segment, 31st ranking now in the AFCA coaches poll. Pirates have been in and out of polls, especially last year we saw that. What does that mean for the team, for you as a coach? I know it's just get out there and win, but talk a little bit about that.
Well, there's always a delay in national recognition, especially in Division III. There's 254 teams, I think, this year. And so folks that are raters, whether they're media or coaches or sports information directors, whoever's on those committees, it's really hard to know 254 teams. So being that we've completed 3 straight winning seasons and one of the best conferences in the country, we're just now starting to get that recognition. So folks saw our blowout win week 1, our blowout win week 2. And, we got pretty good recognition to move in and all the way up to 31st is a good start. It doesn't matter. I told the players, because I expect we'd probably be in the rankings. The game doesn't start 1-0 because we're in the rankings right now and they're not. The game starts 0-0. Just as the score last year doesn't carry over to this year. It's a new year. Every football game is a roll of the dice, as they say. The last one is not dependent on the next one. They don't really influence each other, so it's good. It shows the progress we've made. That we're pretty consistently in the rankings now, but we'll look back maybe at the end of the year and look at it then more than we're looking at it now.
I guess you can kind of call this maybe the southern battle of I-35 because you go south to Seguin, and then of course the northern battle of 35 would be the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor. As far as Texas Lutheran, the Bulldogs, some players.
Let me talk about that before you go on.
Go ahead.
So Craig Way called it the Toll 130 Bowl on his on the horn this week, and so we're looking for a theme. I know the administration of both schools would love to have a theme and a trophy. They're part of the SCAC in all sports. They came with us. They're the only team we've played every year. Some years we played them twice. So that's why the players know each other, and there's a good rivalry there. So maybe there's a theme. I don't know who owns or runs Toll 130. I bet Roger does. He knows everybody. He can figure this out for us. But if anybody knows, maybe they'll buy us a trophy, and we can have something to pass back and forth.
We'll see. I don't like getting those bills in the mail. So, see, 35 doesn't send me a bill, which is good for me. So we like 130, though. Thank you for that. Don't want to hate on them. But as we look at Texas Lutheran, some of the players, maybe positions to keep an eye on for with the Bulldogs, Coach.
Well, they have 2 All-Americans on defense. Their strong safety, free safety player number 7, James Bell, and their field side defensive end, his last name's Longoria, I forget his first name. They're both very good, well deserving of being All-Americans. So those are definitely 2 players on defense that we're very well aware of and that we hopefully have good plans to attack and neutralize. On offense, it's a pretty balanced group. They've got 4 running backs that carry the ball quite a bit when you add their quarterback in. I think last week they had 4 rushers that were over 75 or 80 yards. They're a little bit different. They're passing the ball less. They're breaking in a new starting quarterback as we are, so I don't think they're asking their quarterback to do quite as much in the passing game as they have before, but they're very capable in the run game. They were very efficient in their game against East Texas Baptist. Just an overall, very good, very talented team.
Through 2 games now, Coach, the overall health of the Pirates right now?
We're probably where everybody is. I don't think we're quite as bad as the Longhorns, for example, who have 4 defensive back starters that are potentially out. We've got a key defensive player that might be a game-time decision. Otherwise, we're doing okay. Offensively, it's been a little bit more of a struggle. Some players that we're hoping can give us some things that have been nursing some injuries. Injuries are what they are. I don't think we lost anyone for the year out of last week's game, but we definitely had our share of bumps and bruises that we'll have to try to work through.
A couple last final questions here, Coach Austin, as we continue SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin. Talk about practices this week. I always like to ask you some of these. I know they're redundant questions, but I always like to hear kind of how things are going on that end.
This was it's a hard week. We're into the first round of papers and tests, so this is what we call an at-risk week. And I wouldn't say it was a bad week of preparation, but you could tell our guys were tired. You could tell they're up late and they're studying and they're writing papers and they're putting a lot of effort into things other than football. So they were there physically, maybe more than mentally at some points during practice, and they got worn down. Yesterday was a practice where we did conditioning right in the middle of the practice, and mentally and physically they struggled a little bit. So I don't think it'll affect us on Saturday. We have a plan for at-risk weeks. We help them nutrition-wise with some protein bars, and we always make sure they're well hydrated. And then we give them tips on what they need to do to take care of themselves away from the football facility. But we're definitely in that block. This week and next week are very challenging academically for our students, and it's just something that we know, we're aware of, and we have to work through it.
First to last 2 questions. First one I'll ask you, keys to victory this week.
Well, it's 2 teams that want to run the football. So I think whoever can run the football and limit turnovers, I think will be in good shape. And when you have 2 good football teams, of course, as Victor talked about, the special teams are really important. So if we do punt, I know Victor's going to knock it down there a long ways. And, we want to be the best in the coverage games and the best in the return games. I think that could play a big factor. They've got some dangerous return guys. All the running backs I mentioned are also their return guys. They're going to try to get those players the ball as much as they can.
Coach, final thoughts as we look ahead to Texas Lutheran.
Well, yeah, you always ask me that, and I'm scrambling. But I have a final thought because I talked about the team last week. We're 6-1 in our last 7 games, and we've won by. Well, you don't have to clap for that. Don't interrupt my final thought. We've won by 48, 11, 37, 24 against these guys, but it was 55-7 at the end of the third quarter, 40 and 47. So that's an average of 35 points. And so the challenge to the players were, what are we going to do if it's a close game, and when we get into a close game? Because we've gotten pretty used to coasting home and playing a lot of people, and we're not going to play a whole football season like that in the American Southwest Conference. So I think we'll rely on our 10 returning starters on defense that have been through it, and our seniors like Anthony on offense that have been through it, because somewhere along the line, it doesn't have to be this weekend, we're going to play a tight game or a wet game or a game where just things happen, and it'll be interesting to see how we respond. We haven't really played that many close games and what's coming up on a full season, so that'll be interesting if we're in that situation this weekend.
Well, Coach, as always, it's an honor and privilege to be here to bring SU Football Weekly, not only here to everyone in person, but those of you watching online and even on the replay. These shows are starting to get online. I think the last one was close to 200 views afterwards, so we like to see those numbers as we continue to help bring exposure to the students here at Southwestern University. That's why we do what we do, and we appreciate that opportunity. Dr. Munt, thank you for all that you do and everyone else here. Round of applause for all the staff here and everybody, all the visitors. Thank y'all for coming out, and our 2 special guests as well. Thank you, and we appreciate you guys. And one final round of applause for Mr. Sugar and the entire staff here. Thank you to the Sheraton Hotel. As we'll have it, the game right here on SHN Sports. You can find everything at shnsports.com/SU. And one final reminder, of course, we broadcast everything on YouTube. I wanted to bring this up. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And the reason for that is you'll stay up to date with the latest of what's going on here with our broadcasting of Southwestern University. Friends, as I end every broadcast, reminding you tonight, we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there tonight needs you. Good night, and God bless from Georgetown, Texas.
Wave.
We'll see you next time.